They've been called miracle drugs.
They're literally the most effective treatment that we have for obesity today.
GLP-1s, you know them as Ozempic, Zepbound, Mounjaro, and Wegovy.
Would you call it a game changer?
It would be a game changer for me, yes.
Their use has skyrocketed, leading to questions about their cost, side effects, and how they're prescribed.
Physicians who receive money from pharmaceutical companies are being influenced by pharmaceutical companies.
I'm WRTV Investigates Kara Kenny. Patients can pay more than $1,300 a month for GLP-1 medications. That's before rebates, insurance, and coupons kick in. In fact, users say cost is one of the top reasons why they stop taking the medication.
Sue Seifert lives in Dana, Indiana. She walks a lot with her husband to stay healthy. Part of that health regimen is taking Ozempic once a week.
Would you call it a game changer?
It would be a game changer for me, yes.
Sue gets Ozempic through the VA because her husband is a veteran.
Do you feel lucky that you don't have to pay for yours?
Yes, I do.
For Sue, it's not about dropping pounds.
It is quite the rage, and it's kind of crazy because so many people are on it to lose weight.
Sue has type 1 diabetes and uses GLP-1s to control her blood sugar.
The only time that I really didn't like that people were taking it to lose weight is when I couldn't get it. And I'm the one that needed it.
The popularity of GLP-1s is surging. A new Gallup poll found 12% of Americans reported taking GLP-1s specifically to lose weight. That's double the number from February 2024. GLP-1s were first introduced in 2005. Ozempic received FDA approval in 2017. It wasn't until 2021 and 2023 that the FDA approved Wegovy and Zepbound for weight management.
And it helps to regulate your appetite. So these medications actually mimic the same GLP-1 that your body normally makes, which tells your body that you no longer are hungry.
Andy Schmelz is an associate professor of pharmacy practice at Butler University.
These drugs are incredibly effective, especially for weight loss. They're literally the most effective treatment that we have for obesity today.
But they're not cheap.
How much are we talking for these medications?
These drugs are incredibly expensive. So some patients can expect to pay like hundreds and sometimes even thousands of dollars a month for these.
A poll from KFF, an independent health policy research organization, found 31% of people say it's somewhat difficult to afford GLP-1s, and another 25% say it's very difficult to afford.
So what exactly is a GLP-1? Let's break it down. It stands for glucagon-like peptide 1. These are most often injectable medications that you inject into fatty tissue. GLP-1 is actually a hormone you make in your small intestine. Medications work by mimicking this hormone. It slows the stomach from emptying and helps you feel full. Many patients say it quiets food noise, which is constant thoughts about what you're going to eat. Now, a number of celebrities have come out saying they use GLP-1s to lose weight. Oprah Winfrey, Serena Williams, and Amy Schumer, to name a few. Plus, chances are you know someone who is taking the injectable right now to drop pounds or for other health reasons. TrumpRx is a public-private partnership that's expected to launch later this month. It's a website and initiative aimed at cutting costs for Americans on all kinds of drugs, including GLP-1s. Under Trump's plan, the price of Ozempic and Wegovy will be $350 a month when purchased through TrumpRx. That's down from more than $1,000 a month for Ozempic and $1,350 for Wegovy. The national advocacy group Patients for Affordable Drugs says $350 a month is still a lot of money for most Americans.
With regard to TrumpRx, if they're lower prices, we would like to see those go into law rather than be voluntary programs that the pharmaceutical industry could change at will. Currently, they're just goodwill programs that could change any day.
Currently, Medicare has limited coverage for GLP-1s, but significant changes are underway. People with severe obesity will be able to access the injectable drugs under Medicare. Medicare patients will have a $50 copay for the drugs and are expected to see new pricing as soon as mid-year.
Those lower prices need to go way beyond Medicare. They need to be in the commercialized market. We need to see launch prices of these new drugs tackled so that when they enter the market, they are available for patients and they can be affordable at the same time.
What do you think needs to happen now?
We need to expand the Medicare negotiation program to more drugs. We also need to tackle the launch prices of medications. Currently, it's the pharmaceutical industry that sets those prices and jacks them up multiple times a year.
Patients for Affordable Drugs is helping patients write letters and meet with members of Congress. The group emphasizes that 1 in 3 Americans struggle to pay for medications and that Americans pay more than any other country. There's another option for people seeking to lose weight without the weekly injections. Novo Nordisk is making its weight loss drug Wegovy available as a pill. The starter dose will be $149 a month for patients paying in cash without insurance as part of a deal made with the Trump administration. Novo Nordisk says higher strengths will be available in pill form at different price points. The pill is taken daily instead of a weekly injection. They use the same active ingredient, semaglutide, and the pill is approved for the same groups as the injections. WRTV Investigates wanted to find out how much drug companies are paying Indiana doctors to talk about these GLP-1 medications. The practice is perfectly legal. In fact, it's all public record here on this website, thanks to a 2010 law called the Physician Payment Sunshine Act.
WRTV Investigates partnered with researchers at the Missouri School of Journalism to analyze open payments. That's the federal database that tracks payments from drug companies to doctors. We found more than 4,100 Indiana doctors received compensation in 2024 from either Eli Lilly or Novo Nordisk to talk about the drugs Ozempic, Wegovy, Zepbound, and Mounjaro. Just for these 4 GLP-1s, drug companies paid $500,000 to Indiana doctors in 2024. Drug companies are required to report the totals to the government for money spent on flights, hotels, meals, and drinks for doctors to attend and speak at conferences. Some Indiana doctors stood out. Dr. Ernest Asamoah, an endocrinologist at Community Health in Indianapolis, received $43,000. Dr. James Andre practices in Bloomington. He was paid $52,000. Dr. Whitney Blakely, a bariatric medicine doctor who previously worked for Community Health in Indianapolis, received $53,000. All 3 declined to be interviewed for this story. However, Community Health sent us a statement telling us this practice allows doctors to support innovation by participating in research and consulting with companies, helping to shape new treatments and technologies based on the needs of their patients. Dr. Isaiah Pittman received more than $41,000 in 2024. He did agree to speak with us on camera.
You were second in the state with about $38,000 from Lilly. Talk to me about...
I would imagine I would be first, but okay.
Dr. Pittman is an endocrinologist and biochemist.
I lecture all over the country. I lecture outside of the country.
He's also the founder and CEO of HPW Center for Diabetes, which has locations in multiple states, including Terre Haute and Bloomington.
So you don't get to rent my knowledge for nothing. So yes, I'm compensated for lecturing for Lilly. I'm compensated for lecturing for Novo. So what happens when you're diabetic?
He says those lectures educate doctors about diabetes and GLP-1s.
I've been using them from the beginning.
Have you ever seen a drug that works this well for both diabetes and weight loss?
No, it hasn't existed.
Dr. Pittman teaches fellow doctors about benefits beyond weight loss.
We're talking about a medicine that's been proven to reduce cardiovascular events by 26%, been proven to reduce strokes.
In a statement to WRTV, Novo Nordisk tells us responsible engagement between pharmaceutical companies and the medical community is good for patients and advances care and science. The government does not require doctors to report the number of prescriptions they write for each drug. However, this 2017 study from Georgetown University looked into whether the amount of money paid to a doctor influenced what drugs they prescribed. It found that gifts from pharmaceutical companies influenced prescribing behavior, and that larger gifts elicited a larger impact.
It has a trickle-down effect.
Dr. Adrian Few Berman co-led that study.
The fact that these doctors who are taking any gifts, even just a meal from pharmaceutical companies, were actually prescribing more drugs per patient is extremely concerning.
She's a professor of pharmacology at Georgetown and directs Farmed Out, an organization that researches the pharmaceutical industry.
Why should patients care if their doctor is receiving money from a drug company?
So physicians who receive money from pharmaceutical companies are being influenced by pharmaceutical companies. That affects the information that they have to give. They are not going to have completely objective information.
Do you feel any pressure by accepting this money to write more prescriptions?
No. Actually, in fact, if you want to know the truth, I lose money. I go out and do these lectures purely for the sake of education.
Dr. Pittman could not say how many prescriptions he writes for GLP-1s, but says only about 5% of his GLP-1 prescriptions are solely for weight loss.
If you do a real evaluation of your average obese patient, you will find that they are actually mild or sometimes significant diabetics.
What do you say to people that say, if these drugs work so well, how come drug companies have to pay doctors like you to talk about them?
Thank you for because this is something that needs to get cleared up.
Dr. Pittman explains he took part in a federal government program that paid his tuition.
The MD, PhD, our job is to teach, do research, and see patients.
He understands why patients might be concerned money from drug companies could sway which prescriptions they write.
It absolutely can if that individual is not real versed on the science and physiology behind those medicines, which I absolutely would agree. That's what happened with pain medicines and narcotics.
Sue Seifert is one of Dr. Pittman's patients. She has no issue with him accepting money from pharmaceutical companies.
He is just so dedicated to his patients and to other doctors to have them learn everything he knows, because he's always doing research. And I respect him for that.
Here's how to look up your own doctor. Go to Open Payments. We've created a link in this story on WRTV.com. Enter your doctor's name, click on it, scroll down to General Payments. On the left, you can see the company making the payment. In the middle is the nature of the payment. The date is on the right, as well as the amount. If you click on the amount, you can see specific drugs that doctor received money for. Kara Kenny, WRTV.
Next on Behind the Hype, not everyone has a positive experience with these drugs. Lawsuits just filed in Marion County allege drug companies downplayed certain side effects.
I'm WRTV Investigates Kara Kenny. These GLP-1 medications can be expensive, but they also come with possible side effects like losing muscle mass and digestive issues.
Sue Seifert considers herself lucky.
You know, I've never had any side effects.
The Dana, Indiana native is one of millions of Americans taking a GLP-1. She takes Ozempic for her diabetes, but for many others, it's about losing weight.
For a while, I couldn't even get it, so it kind of made me mad.
GLP-1s come with possible side effects, including nausea, diarrhea, vomiting, and constipation.
Most patients will experience some kind of stomach-related side effects.
Andy Schmelz is an associate professor of pharmacy practice at Butler University. He points out GLP-1s also have a black box warning for thyroid tumors.
The drugs are have been found to increase the risk of thyroid tumors in mice.
WRTV Investigates found dozens of patients claiming they suffered serious side effects from taking GLP-1s. In the past few months, court records show dozens of lawsuits filed in Marion County against Indianapolis-based Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk, the Danish maker of Ozempic and Wegovy. Those lawsuits claim the companies downplayed side effects like gastroparesis, a condition where the stomach has trouble emptying itself. One lawsuit says rather than warning consumers about losing muscle, Lilly has instead invested in developing combination drugs to combat the muscle loss. We reached out to Eli Lilly, the manufacturer of Zepbound and Mounjaro. They told us patient safety is Lilly's top priority, and we actively engage in monitoring, evaluating, and reporting safety information for all our medicines. Our medicines labels include robust FDA-approved warnings. Novo Nordisk also responded to WRTV, saying the allegations in the lawsuits are without merit, and we intend to vigorously defend against these claims. Patient safety is our top priority at Novo Nordisk, and we work closely with the U.S. Food and Drug Administration to continuously monitor the safety profile of our medicines.
People who stop taking GLP-1s could put the pounds right back on, according to a University of Oxford review of research. They found many patients will return to their starting weight within 2 years of ending the treatment. The data shows this weight regain happens even faster than it does for people who lose weight through diet and exercise alone. The drugs work by mimicking a hormone that tells the brain and the gut that you're full. But once you stop the shots, experts warn your body may produce less of its own natural hormone and become less sensitive to its effects. That means you're more likely to overeat.
Next on Behind the Hype, researchers in Indianapolis are launching a new study about GLP-1s, why they say they need 5 years to look at the impact of these drugs.
GLP-1s are impacting all aspects of life, including the workplace. Companies are now trying to figure out how it will affect their healthcare costs.
Dr. Joshua Vest is a professor at the IU Indianapolis Fairbanks School of Public Health. He's co-leading a new study, a 5-year study in partnership with Eli Lilly. It will look at how GLP-1 medications impact costs like missed work, lost productivity, absenteeism, and disability claims at work.
This is a very long study. There have been some studies that are looking at a 1-year period of time, but obesity is complicated, obesity is costly, there's a lot of downstream effects, and so being able to look for a very long time just provide a lot of evidence that doesn't exist right now for decision makers.
Many companies cover the cost of GLP-1s for diabetes, but fewer do for weight loss. According to KFF, a health policy organization, 19% of employers that have more than 200 workers currently cover GLP-1s for weight loss. The hope is this Fairbanks study will help companies better evaluate benefit options for its employees.
Does it change people how they have to go to the emergency department, or does it change their primary care or hospitalization patterns?
Patients can pay more than $1,300 a month for
WRTV Investigates has been telling you all week about the costs involving GLP-1s, including how much you pay, potential side effects, and even how much drug companies pay Indiana doctors to spread the word about these drugs. Indiana's adult obesity rate is 38%, 7th highest in the nation. Companies face hard decisions about how to address the costs associated with chronic disease and the role of GLP-1s.
We've already known for quite a while that these medications are really effective in clinical trials.
The Fairbanks study will follow employees and dependents who are using obesity management medications and another group not using the medications. It will run through November 2029.
A new study released this month shows people on GLP-1s save money on medical costs over time. Aon, a global professional services firm, conducted a multi-year study of American health claims. The study looked at nearly 200,000 GLP-1 users over a period of up to 30 months. It found whether people use GLP-1s for diabetes or for weight loss, they spent less on hospital and doctor visits than non-users.
After they've been on the medication for a year, we really start to see some notable improvement in their medical costs, largely driven by a decrease in hospitalizations. So it's not a big surprise. What we know about GLP-1s from the clinical research is that they have positive cardiometabolic impacts, that they reduce inflammation. So some of the clinical impacts that we are seeing are reductions in hospitalizations for major cardiac events and lower incidences of some cancers.
The study also found female GLP-1 users experienced a 50% lower incidence of ovarian cancer and a 14% lower incidence of breast cancer compared to women who were not using the drug. Scammers are taking advantage of the hype surrounding GLP-1s. I talked to the Better Business Bureau serving Central Indiana.
How do scammers always seem to be at the forefront of what's going on?
They like to keep up with current events. I like to say they like to cast a wide net to see how many fish they can catch. And so if there's a sea with a lot of fish in there looking for the same item, they're going to jump in there and try to see what they can get.
Here's a complaint filed with the Better Business Bureau from an Indiana consumer. It says they paid $350 for a GLP-1 after seeing a doctor advertisement on Facebook. But once the consumer sent the money through Apple Cash, the profile blocked them on Facebook and Messenger. The Better Business Bureau says scammers are using AI-generated images or videos of celebrities, doctors, and other trusted figures to promote their products. You may get a text, an email, a phone call, or see something on social media.
They get you to click on a link, fill out the form, get information. You might get something in the mail, but it also may not be what it is. Sometimes it's just a supplement other than actual medication. Other times you get nothing.
Here's some tips to protect yourself. The BBB says you should only buy GLP-1s from reputable pharmacies. Do not be quick to trust endorsements from celebrities and doctors. Be cautious of miracle claims. And lastly, be wary of subscription traps that hook you into expensive shipments of products you don't even want. Every day we learn more about GLP-1s, and maybe some time before we know the true long-term impacts of these medications. We want to hear from you. What experiences have you had with GLP-1 medications? What are you paying for the drugs? And what would you like to see happen? You can email me at kara.kenny@wrtv.com. And to see all of our coverage on this topic, including full statements from Eli Lilly, Novo Nordisk, and Community Health, visit WRTV.com/GLP1.